Guardians, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming channel for another episode of 5 Games With, a PvP focus series where we select a new weapon each week, test it out, take it into the Crucible for 5 matches, talk about how things went, and see how the gun performed in the hands of a painfully average PvP player. That being me. And just a quick note about future episodes within this series, for the first 3 weeks I hand selected the weapon. Next week it's going to be up to the community to decide what we're going to try out. More on that at the end of the video though. Right now, we got a weapon to play with. Vex Mythoclast, the original Destiny 1 Vault of Glass raid exotic. Technically a solar fusion rifle, but realistically, a high impact auto rifle. In its base fire mode, it shoots at 360 rounds per minute, has 33 rounds in the magazine, and a maxed out recoil direction of 100. Very solid stat line to back it up as well. Excellent range, good handling, respectable reload speed, and some pretty forgiving aim assist. If you want to knock it for something, the stability is a bit low, but not bad if you do compare it to other high impact ARs. The intrinsic trait basically just states, hey, I'm actually an auto rifle, but the temporal unlimiter exotic perk allows kills to overcharge this weapon, granting access to the linear fusion fire mode that does have a 533 charge time on those shots. And if you do have the exotic catalyst unlocked and applied, Vex gains access to the calculated balance feature. When in its base fire mode, final blows award the weapon with bonus damage, accuracy, and stability for a short duration. So there is a fair bit going on with this weapon, but let's get into some hard damage numbers. On a crit, we're seeing 41 on screen, and body shots are landing for 22. I think that body shot damage is actually spot on for a change, but the crits appear to be getting a big roundup, with true values being closer to 40.15, best I can tell. All of the bullet combos and resilience breaks that I'm about to give you though were physically tested and do work out. Vex's optimal time to kill sits at 0.83 seconds, versus Guardians running tier 7 resilience or higher, you will need 6 consecutive crits to achieve it. Versus tier 6 or lower, you can go 5 crit 1 body. The body shot time to kill since the March update has ballooned to 1.66 seconds versus tier 5 or higher, needing 11 shots. 1.5 seconds versus tier 4 or lower, with 10 rounds landed. If you want something in the middle, you can land 3 crits and 5 bodies for a 1.17 second kill speed versus any resilience tier. Not extremely fast, but quite forgiving. Provided you have the exotic catalyst unlocked though, on kill, Vex will get a 20% damage buff for 5 seconds. This jumps the bullet damage to around 48.2 on crits and 26.4 on bodies. And it also drops the optimal time to kill down to 0.67 seconds with 5 crits versus most resilience tiers. 4 and 1 if you catch a Guardian running 3 or less. It also moves the body shot time to kill to a more respectable 1.33 seconds with 9 shots. And just because of the exotic armor pairing that I am going to be using in this video, I'll bring a radiant buff into the mix as well, resulting in a 32% total damage increase on kill. Crits climb to just under 53, and body shots go to just over 29, allowing Vex to go 4 crit 1 body versus any resilience tier, and dropping another round from the body shot requirement. Now, 8 rounds landed can drop any Guardian in 1.17 seconds. If you get 3 kills in a single life, you will be able to reload swap over to the linear fusion rifle mode, and admittedly, I always forget to make use of it, which is a damn shame because it is strong. While body shots only score 155, crits land for around 529. Plenty of damage to ruin a player's day who thinks they're all safe and sound, cozied up in a well of radiance. And, almost forgot to include this, Vex's range scaler was recently increased, so now its optimal range stretches back to about 37.5 meters. Past that, damage falloff begins to occur. As for the rest of the kit that I'm taking in, I decided to go with Dawnblade today to make full use of Rain of Fire, which grants radiant on fusion rifle kills and allows for an auto reload with an Icarus dash. I'll be trying to get Vex a little more help with some surge, unflinching, and targeting mods. And for my offhand weapon, I went with Reese Walker. I've kind of been shying away from special weapons since the ammo changes went into place, but hey, it's Iron Banner week, and while lightweight shotguns aren't what they used to be, this one's always been pretty reliable. But as with all 5 games videos, the point is to make use of the featured weapon as much as possible. For the 5 games played, I'm happy to report that things went a bit better this week. The first game was on Citadel, and my team did get mopped, but I did what I could to stay smart and try to feed the enemy team as few points as possible. In game 2, the script got flipped on Altar of Flame. While I wasn't really making any sparks fly on a personal level, my team did end up on the better end of what was a more or less lopsided victory. Third game was on Radiant Cliffs, which ended up being statistically my worst match of the set. It was an enjoyable game though. It was a brawl from start to finish. The teams felt pretty evenly matched, and we didn't pull away with the win till the very end. Game 4 on Bannerfall, this one went well for me. 19 defeats, 9.5 efficiency. For a player of my limited caliber, I can't not be happy with those results. Last match of the day was on Pacifica, and it was nice to end the session on a fairly decent personal performance, and more importantly, another win. All in all, the 5 games went pretty darn well. I was pleased that I was able to keep my efficiency rating relatively high so I wasn't unnecessarily feeding the enemy team points, and an 80% win rate, I'll take that any day of the week. No fireworks or big kill games on my end, but I'm generally not that guy. If I can be a contributing factor in my team coming out on top, that's a W in my world. Regarding Vex, I will say it was feeling pretty good to me. Was I getting a bit more out of it running Rain of Fire? Sure, but I mean, I'll take all the help I can get. But just at base, that optimal time to kill of 0.83 seconds is pretty competitive. The best? No, there are weapons that are going to outgun it, but if you can keep on target, it is very serviceable. 6 consecutive crits can be a big ask because many players are opting to run higher resilience, but you can find some pretty forgiving suboptimal bullet combos that I think can be beneficial to players that are somewhere around my skill level. And to see it hitting for full damage from around 37 meters was a nice change. The limited range of Vex was a complaint that I've heard coming from players in the past. And while this change doesn't make it a long-range dueler, it's nice for putting some decent damage on an enemy from a distance. Then the 20% damage buff from the Catalyst is very nice. If you're in a situation where multiple targets are present and you can get that first kill, the improved damage can make dealing with secondary targets much easier. And that 0.67 second optimal time to kill is something that I wish I would have tried to take better advantage of. It does allow you to be a bit more aggressive, and when watching back the footage, I definitely saw times where I probably should have pushed things a little bit harder. While it's not something that's necessarily in my nature, if I think I have a good position, I'm not the type of player who's going to abandon it to kill hunt, but there were definitely times where I think it would have been warranted. The linear fusion rifle mode though, I need to get my brain trained to take advantage of that in the future. I mean, I do it with Revision 0, so I don't know where the mental block is with Vex, maybe I just get lost hammering on the trigger, but the ability to one-shot any target from basically any range is something that I need to make use of. All in all though, I did have a really good time using Vex this go round. I'm sure the more heavily populated Iron Banner playlist did contribute to some of my success, but after this play session, I think I will be using Vex a little more going forward, and we'll see how things go. Regarding next week's 5 games video, drop your weapon suggestions down in the comments. Now, I'm sure I'm never going to be able to get to all of them, so what I'm going to do is take all the submitted recommendations, randomly select 4 of them, and then make a community poll so you guys can vote on which one you want to see. The ones that don't get selected will go straight back in the drawing for the next week. I'm going to put that poll up this Friday, that being April 11th, to give myself adequate time to get the video made, so keep your eyes open for it. But that's what I'm going to try, and we'll make any necessary adjustments going forward if need be. But with that, I appreciate you taking the time to check out this video, Guardians, and I'll catch you on the next one.